And the other question is, that one might ask, is why she doesn't stand up to him more. But she has been very, very beaten down by him, and especially in those days, it was expected that a woman followed whatever the husband dictated in the house. He was the boss.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult to stand up. I think what some women did in those days is they left the situation altogether. But I think it was easier almost to leave if you had a place to go than to try to stand up to the man, you know? Okay, so then now, at one point, and this is where the complication of characters, at one point, David is sent to Miss Peggy's brother.
Yeah.
And that's when he's away, that's when the mother gets married.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Peggotty is Miss Peggy's brother.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the people who live with Mr. Peggotty. Two young people, Ham and Emily. And they are people who have no parents, but are related to Mr. Peggotty, and he has taken them in.
Yeah.
He has also taken in Mrs. Gumridge. Her husband was Mr. Peggotty's brother, and he died as a fisherman at sea.
Yeah.
So none of these people are, we say in English, blood relatives. Blood relative like your children, your parents.
Yeah.
They're like his husband, his brother's wife, two children who are related to him but are not his children. And he's this very kind, generous person who has taken them into his house.
Yes.
Is that clear?
Yep, too.
Guy, is that clear? Okay. All right.
Thank you. Sure.
Yes.
I'm really confused why his mother is dead and his brother also is dead at the same time.
Yes.
What happened with them?
Yes, they didn't tell us that here, so we just have to, and don't forget, also, this is a very abbreviated version of the book, but whatever the illness the mother had, the baby had too. And in those days, people died much more easily of something like pneumonia.
Yeah.
You know, now if you have pneumonia, they'll get you to the hospital and give you medication.
Yes.
But in those days, I mean, so many people even die of pneumonia these days.
Yeah.
But in those days, it was very, I'm just using that as an example. So the death among babies and infants was extremely common in those days. And so I think we have to just assume that the mother and baby died of the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay? Everybody follow? Now, who is the narrator of this story? All right, maybe I'll ask first, can you tell us, Guy, what is a narrator? Narrator. Okay, when we read The Ring, the narrator was the doctor. All right, a narrator is simply the person who tells the story.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that is the real person in the story. When the person wrote The Ring, he made up the doctor and made the doctor the narrator. Now the narrator, who is telling the story in David Copperfield? Who? No, excuse me, do you see is Charles Dickens mentioned in the story? Charles Dickens is the author.
Yes.
David Copperfield is the narrator. Charles Dickens wrote it, and he made David Copperfield the narrator. So, in the beginning, we're getting the story from a child's point of view, as David as a child.
Yes.
So, good morning, Carl.